And I think the guys out front here in the breakaway are going to have to work pretty hard to if they want to stay away.
Well, as you can hear, the appeals for people to stay off the road and not try and dash across, no matter what you're being tempted by on the other side of the road. Coming up through Baku Old City, as you can see, impeccably well kept. Not a speck of litter, it seems, in this part of the world. Looks like we've just drifted back in time, and time's what it's all about. And these guys were starting to lose it, hand over fist, I'm afraid. The old cobble streets and the chatter of the wheels upon that surface. Well, it's time for some others to engage in a chase. And in fact, it was the temptation really to bridge over maybe to those guys and form a fighting partnership. In fact, 4 riders decided that they were going to set off in hot pursuit. Will Clark out there, number 12 from Drapac, probably wanting to hook up with Lowndes. Followed by Elchin Azadov, number 96 from the Bridgestone anchor team. And while our trio were up there, all hell was breaking loose behind them. Kazuko Inoue of Japan also there, as you can see, and others as well getting engaged. Aviv Yachekel. So a quartet chasing down the leaders up front, but it was all starting to look like it was coming together. Of those out front, the youngster, Lowndes, the aforementioned, I think it's been a long race for a 21-year-old, and frankly, when you dropped into a properly contested stage race such as this, if you're not full to your, if you're not at your full musculature, and indeed you're dealing with, of course, a determined pack on what is, I guess, the show day. No parade here. This was proper, and Jason Lowndes just started to lose ground. Maybe after the efforts of bridging over to the original breakaway, which he had to do. So at any point, Magnus, if you're investing a real drive on a day like this, you're going to pay for it at some time, and I think Jason Lowndes is about to do that. Yeah,
well, certainly if you're not a climber, then today's circuit is going to be very difficult, regardless of how you do it, and you need to be able to do this couple of short, very, very steep, hard climbs at pace every single time. And as you can see, because of the narrowness of the streets, it also strings the peloton out. There's only a couple of places where you can really get some traction down on these cobblestones, and that makes it harder for the bunch. And as soon as you hit the tarmac, everything accelerates, and you got the rubber band effect of all of that as well. So you tend to lose about 5-10 riders every time you go up this climb, and that's what makes it so difficult for the riders.
There we are, the old city being reflected in the modern structures that surround it. With any citadel, generally it tended to be on a promontory, so up high on a hill. And that's exactly what we're witnessing right now. The climb up to the battlements. And Lowndes really struggling. He is a quick man, good sprinter. And in fact, had that decent result for Drapac in the opening stage, finishing in 8th place. And some quick men. It was too much for him today. And so past the tongues of flame. Just 2 left out front, sailing by this sort of signature building, I think it's fair to say, in this part of the world. And still just towards the top of the climb, just in front of it. And Jason Lowndes just managing to hold on for that mountain point before being reabsorbed by the pack. 4 chases, incidentally, finally wound in themselves. And so any alliances today? Not much hope for that. How would Maksym Averin go, the road race champion of course, Synergy Baku, and indeed all of the others in contention today? And of course our eyes just searching out the youngster Ildar Arslanov within the pack. Well, a long, lonely road, it seems, for that pairing out front. And the chase, reasonably spirited, being led by Astana City. Nikita Stalnov, the man there, hoping to guide into position, needing to find bonus times, bonus seconds at the line, 10, 6 and 4, don't forget, at the line, and hoping then to steal the leader's jersey off the shoulders of number 142, Markus Eibegger from Team Felbermayr Simplon Wels. Only 52 seconds then at this point, with 41 kilometers to go. And so 3 laps remaining of this one. Or when you have a series of laps, you know exactly what punishment you've got coming. And I think that can be a heartbreaker, especially if you're struggling with 3 to go. It's
definitely a heartbreaker. And every time you just start tying up a bit more as we got more attacks, and every time you get closer and closer to the finish line, oh, that's a big nasty crash there. Just clipped the edge of the concrete there on that wall.
Thankfully, no injuries to report on the day, but easily done, I think, Magnus, in this scenario.
Yeah, well, when the pressure is being put down, you do end up taking a few more added risks, and that one just going slightly wrong as it came in onto the cobblestones and turning left at the same time, just managed to clip that wall.
So 2 leaders out there, and I think destined to be caught by the peloton. Sub-attacks about to rain down upon everybody as well. And in fact, Silvio Herkoltz, the German from Bora, Argon, one of those. A little bit later, Jan Barta was going to roll the dice as well. There we are, pat on the back, and thumbs up to the cameras. Oh, nice to see that Thomas Aurelio Gil
Martinez.
Yes, in good spirits. Gil Martinez, yes. Thomas Aurelio, and you know, I never know which one to credit, but I should do. He's been around for quite some time, the Venezuelan. There we are. So just sailing through some of the falling blossom here, getting towards, well, the end of spring, I guess. And you had to be fleet of foot, particularly on some of these inclines, to stay in touch.
It's certainly not an easy circuit to deal with, that's for sure.
Not at all, is it? Yeah, nasty, spiteful climb, despite the smooth surface, impeccable road surface to deal with. And even the ancient cobbles seem to have a degree of polish about them, let's put it that way. So Silvio Herkoltz going for it. Bora Aragon, along with Luca Wackerman of NASA Dubai. They'll be joined by Mauro Finetto of Uni Euro Villia. Luca Wackerman wearing the green jersey, incidentally. There he is, just fighting to get on. Wackerman with his stage win yesterday. He's had some great finishes. In fact, he won yesterday's stage, 3rd on stage 3 as well, and likewise got a podium on the opening stage behind Bauhaus and Sunderland. So he's been a constant up towards the front. I think he knew that if he was going to have a chance today, he maybe had to try and go early, but this was too early.
Yeah, I think this is a bit too early to stretch out and go for a win like this. I think certainly Wackerman would have been better off hanging back a little bit more and going on the final lap. It's such a tough circuit, this, that you're going to find it difficult to keep any kind of momentum going for a longer period of time.
Not a great deal of people on the rooftops here, and it's courtesy of the wind that was blowing, to be honest. Last thing you want to do is lose a hat at a moment such as this. Schillinger, Garcia, Will Clark and Gonzalez Salas having a go here as well. After the others were caught, the aforementioned Herkoltz, Wackerman as well, came to naught on the climb, and the 4th passage of the line beckoning with 27 kilometers still to go. Still too far out to launch an attack, to my mind, especially when you're in clear and plain view of the chasers, who are all motivated. So many riders close at hand with a chance of victory here.
Yeah, there certainly are, and with that, no one's going to let anyone get any kind of a substantial gap. There's just too many riders who are wanting to not to lose their place on the overall, and they're clearly having a bit of a chat there, not too keen on how this is working out.
Yes, indeed. And I think discussions, let's put it that way, as to work ethic within that group. Gazprom on a chase, naturally working for Arslanov, but with other fish to fry as well. Astana City and Stalnov, the man who started just 2 seconds down. Stalnov, Arslanov, big chasers with big teams and big ambitions. Well, would our leader hold on? His team's certainly doing enough work out there. Felbermayr Simplon Wels in the blue jerseys, and there the road race champion of Azerbaijan, the camera always wanting to pick out Maksym Averin. And his team, we're going to have these guys as well on this climb back through the old city. Well, familiar to us now, Magnus. Well hewn, I think, this old town. Well preserved, certainly.
It certainly is, certainly is. Interesting view there with the old town and the, what did you call them?
The tongues of fire.
The tongues of fire.
Yes, licking the sky. Well, it's been a crucible within which many an ambitious run has sadly come to naught. And Gonzalez just heading back. Marie Gonzalez Salas and leaving out front. Well, no surprise to see one of the Bora riders having a go, and this was Andreas Schillinger.
Schillinger is certainly a very, very strong rider, and one man that could potentially do a ride on his own on a circuit like this, I believe.
Those tongues of fire, they seem to be just missing an enormous gobstopper balanced on top. That would have been my design. Just a thought.
Yeah, could work.
Take a bit of cleaning, that, I'm sure. Not a job I'd fancy. Meanwhile, if you're looking for work ethic, these guys are going for it. And guess who? Jan Barter just can't help himself. Decided that he was going to have a pop as well. Lebas, Ninch and Pozdanikov just contesting that second of the day's climbs. In fact, Jan Barter it is that's pushing on, trying to get back at these guys.
Interesting there, the Gazprom are sending a rider out in the break. Maybe they're waiting for Arslanov to have a bit of a dig.
Well, he needs to put it on the line if he's going to do that. Here's Lanov. And here we are. Yet more rolling attacks, plenty of these as well, characterizing the last phase of the day. Final lap coming up then.
Dangerous move this one, I think.
Yeah, looks like it, doesn't it?
Mugel is in there as well.
Bugurli definitely there. Bolvin as well. Malaguti, and of course Barter was to join in and have some fun as well, exchanging places with number 6 Andreas Schillinger in a wee while. So the 5th passage of the line coming up. Jan Barter in that lead group with Mugeli, Ninch and Ray. So Bora Argon certainly did swap duties, but as you can see, a very reduced chasing pack, but most of Team Tavira seem to be intact, and Rinaldo Nocentini fancying having a good run here, and no surprise, the chance for Nocentini to take a victory late on in his career.
Yeah, well, why not? Rinaldo Nocentini is certainly a rider who could do this, and Jan Barter not particularly happy with how hard a turn Mugeli is taking, and I think Mugeli was just happy that was actually staying on the wheel of Barter.
The bell ringing out and loud. Proud, you might say, with about 40 riders or so, and look at the arguments going on here. Why don't you do so? Welcome back. The old city beckoning one more time And as you can see, it's very, very reduced. About 40 riders involved here, but notably, all of the jerseys still intact and battling.
Yeah, they certainly are. The question is, who is anyone going to be able to get that yellow jersey today on the final stage with a bit of an upset?
Here's the Maiden Tower, the highest point in the old city. Yes. Time for a musical interlude as we go for a trip around it. The Maiden Tower. Well, there's plenty of legends surrounding this. The most dramatic of which is the daughter or sister of the Khan of Baku fled inside the tower in fear of incest, throwing herself off the tower to her death in the waves. At the time, the tower, of course, bordering the Caspian Sea.
Well, you learn something every day.
There we are. Yeah, difficult times. Fifth passage of Baku City, and the man in the green jersey going for this. Good work by him as well. Wackerman with a chance today, chance for glory to add to his stage win yesterday. And yeah, just hitting the inclines as hard as he could. And indeed, this was a spirited effort and a determined one, Magnus, because once he got to the top, he kind of felt that he may have the legs to make it count all the way, but a tall order, I think.
Well, it's certainly a very tall order, but he's given it everything he's got today and to try and get out there and take over the general classification. Big effort going up on these cobblestones here now.
There we are. The shoulders and elbows being rattled as oh gosh, it is a proper technical descent, this one, isn't it?
Somewhat dangerous, someone might say.
Yes, and particularly with the camera motorcycle so close at hand on what is a very polished surface, actually.
Yeah, I mean, cobblestones are difficult at the best of times, but on a tight technical circuit like this, and with riders chasing as well, the motorbike want to get out of the way. So
Luca Wackerman, Finetto following on. Finetto's had some pretty good runs here as well. The man racing for the Villiers team, and likewise wanting to produce something here. Top 20 position maybe for him. He lost 10 minutes in the mountains, but he is a quick man, and you know, why not a stage win? Spirited, I think it's fair to say, but so was the chase down, I'm afraid. And Wackerman, they did not want to let him steal this one at the very last.
No, they certainly couldn't afford to let Wackerman get a couple of seconds here. They were straight onto him, and although Wackerman giving it some big licks.
Yeah, Wackerman, incidentally, starting the day quite a few minutes down, so he was never a danger of taking over the overall. But the likes of Stalnov and Nocentini could have done it if they'd found a gap to Markus Eibegger from team Felbermayr Simplon Wels, and their teams still with some personnel left chasing on. So watch out for the blue jersey, almost unkindly from a team that almost matches the same colour. Nonetheless, well worth having, and a title in the offing. So the lead group, Wackerman and Finetto, short train certainly. This just a pairing, and not over yet the pain. This long drag, familiar as they were with it at this point, Magnus, it doesn't make it any easier.
No, it certainly doesn't. If anything, it makes it worse. And all of the riders, you can see, are finding it very difficult here on the final lap past the big towers.
There we are, the tongues of flame, Magnus.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Well, somebody was going to get licked today. Who would it be? Just about everyone bar one still didn't know who was going to bring it home today. Wackerman resting up. Eibegger coming into this day as leader, and in fact the leader's blue jersey there for you to see, being traced by the green jersey and the King of the Mountains, and of course the leader of the young riders competition, Magnus. Let's not forget him.
Now Mr. Arslanov is still in there and still giving it all that he can.
Well, the motorcycle, which was making a nuisance of itself, finally departing, thank goodness, with 8 to go. Well, a real dig at this point, and well, all bar finished. Finetto attacking again, but I'm afraid to no avail as they just crest it and get some respite. Time to tee yourself up then for a quick run in, Magnus.
Yeah, it certainly is. All the jerseys right near the front there. We got one of the Bora riders on the very front of the peloton just trying to chase this down, and I think it is Arslanov right there waving around, wanting some more teammates.
A young man with a big ambition. Well, still they're holding out there, but didn't hold out much hope, I'm afraid. And as the kilometres ticked down, we were teeing up for a select sprint, I think it's fair to say. And as if to greet them here in Baku, the sun coming out, the shadows sharpening, and indeed so were the knives out there. Who would take the 5th stage? Well, we've mentioned some of the sprinters: Michael Schwarzmann, Phil Bauhaus, Schillinger as well, Tormaidis, why not Averin? Plenty here with a chance. Well, heartbreak, always, if you happen to be in a break that gets neutralised very, very late on. Finetto had managed to pose just about an 8-second gap on the chasers. He's had some decent results. Indeed, had some ambitions to go quite deep into this one. Well, ambition is one thing, but delivering it is entirely another, I'm afraid. And with the sort of motivation that was behind him, it was going to come to nothing. There you can see the leader's blue jersey on the back of number 1242, Eibegger, in a decent position to hold on to it. Just behind him, the green jersey being worn by number 134. That's Luca Wackerman, who took yesterday's stage. All the jerseys owned outright, incidentally, on the day. The number 81 wearing the King of the Mountains, Nikita Stalnov, hoping to convert it into the overall jersey with just that 2 seconds deficit. And let's not forget the youngster as well, Arslanov, who certainly had a chance of glory. Would he deliver? That was a big question. So the man out in front, as you can see, pedalling away, Mauro Finetto, normally a lead out for David Plebani, but 3 times in the top 10. 9th on stage 1, 7th on stage 2, 6th on stage 3. Could he finally bag one? The answer, sadly for him, not. But on great form, Finetto, runner-up in the Coppi Bartoli this year. And so the 30-year-old still producing some great results. And this would have been a terrific one if he'd managed to hold on, Magnus.
Yeah, it certainly was a great move, great attack, and the peloton struggling to bring him back. It just shows how much power this man possesses.
Well, it was only an 8-second gap, and he started to stretch it because everyone else was looking at each other, not wanting to engage the chase. So could Finetto do it? Heading for the Flamme Rouge, and all of a sudden starting to believe we were. And likewise the chasers, suddenly they decided that it needed to be engaged, and it was a proper challenge. Finetto, you don't finish runner-up beating some very big names like Enau, incidentally, in the Coppi Bartoli. So the Flamme Rouge beckoning then and heading for ultimate glory. And look at them, cat and mousing back here, playing with fire, I think, Magnus.
Yeah, they certainly were. Maybe they got a bit of that from the towers of fire there.
Maybe the tongues of fire that overlook this city. So who would be deemed worthy of taking on the chase? Well, Bora done so much. What with Jan Barto, you saw Schillinger attacking, and now it was a chance for Michael Schwarzmann to have a look. But would he have enough time to make the catch? Flamme Rouge about to be taken, and then this road was going to run out in Baku. Finetto still believing, and others now understanding that he had a great chance. Yeah, just 3 seconds it says, and the chase on, but this is at the 2K mark, and he held on to it. He responded constantly.
Yeah, it certainly did, and Bora putting an awful lot of work into to trying to catch Finetto here, and really quite struggling with to do so. Obviously, there aren't any teams in the group that has got the full lineup of 6 riders left, so it comes down to the odd man here and there, and then here comes Baku.
Yes, indeed, Baku and their road race champion, Maksym Averin, would he manage to get onto the overall podium. And there you saw a rider just taking some aero from the motorcycle and guiding everybody else into a dangerous position by that. Not deliberately so, you understand, but almost following wheel by wheel, almost like sheep, and nearly getting themselves into trouble. It's been a well-marshalled race, this. Finetto just slamming the handlebars. 4th in the Tour of Turkey, 4th in the Tour of Morocco as well.
Good
we know how tough
Mugli.
Race that is.
Good move by Mugli.
Very much so. Super job, and trying to marshal themselves into a decent position. Michael Schwarzmann of Bora Aragon, where is he? Most powerful man heading for the barriers. Is there enough space though? That was the question. Mugli looked like he got this, and others powering into it, including race leader, all in the frame. In the end, Schwarzmann taking it at the line for Bora Aragon. Checked out for Team Roth in 2nd place. Daniel Schorn 3rd ahead of Maksym Averin, the national road race champion locally here. Boivin finishing in 5th place ahead of Schweitz. Wackerman, Mugli in 8th place. Tormaridis and Eibegger significantly finishing, of course, within that group. So no bonus seconds for Nocentini or for Stalnov, who also finished in a reasonable place. Eibegger, crown champion, as Schwarzmann won the day. Tough day to finish this off.
Yeah, very tough stage indeed. What a turn Mugli does here, though, bringing his man into position, but unfortunately Tamuridis just didn't quite have the legs to open up the sprint, basically not getting past his teammates. That's just done the lead out, but nevertheless a good lead out turn from Mugli.
Very much so. In fact, you look down the list, leading the chase group just behind a gap, Ildar Arslanov, the winner of the Young Riders competition. Well, a party atmosphere, as you can see, in Baku at the end of a busy tour. Michael Schwarzmann taking the final stage, so Bora getting a victory to add to that of Bauhaus, who won stage 1. Nocentini, incidentally, finishing runner-up to our race winner. Daniel Schorn also having taken that, or worn that jersey, finishing 3rd today behind Check-in.
Second win of your team. Was this how you expected the Tour d'Azerbaijan?
Yes, it was the 2nd win, and yeah, we expect maybe a little bit more, and in the GC, but in the end we have 2 stage victories, and that's okay for us.
Could you describe how the final kilometer was for you?
Yeah, the lap was, it was really hard with the cobblestone climb, but in the end it come all together, and it was a bunch sprint, and the last case was like, with some corners, a little bit dangerous. Yeah, but it was a fast lap, so it was good for me.
This is how it finished then, with Markus Eibegger crowned our champion. A modest margin over the Tavira boys who did so much work on behalf of Rinaldo Nocentini. There's our winner, Markus Eibegger. Champion here at the Tour of Azerbaijan.
Yeah, so far it's more or less one of my bigger wins, and it's a really nice feeling winning GC after a long and hard fight. This is not just winning it on the last day, like we had to fight for the last 3 days for it. And so we are happy and proud.
Should be proud as well. Mountains classification. Thomas Lebas taking this one ahead of Stalnov, who seemed to be losing out at the very, very last. Shame for him. Lebas taking it at the last by being involved in those climbs today. So a late steal, Magnus.
Yeah, it was, but he set his stall out already on the first stage. Lebas taking points and then really going for them every single day. So he's done a good job this week.
Stayed in touch and indeed dealt the killer blow at the very last. Here's your points classification. The green jersey, Daniel Schorn, at least gets to take one away with him, beating Luca Wackerman, stage winner of stage 4, by a modest 2 points. And so the green jersey belongs to him.
Yeah, well, the points jersey came down to the final sprint, and it's always nice to see when it's this close a battle between riders.
When he had the leader's jersey, we remind you. Very productive time for that team. Synergy Baku Cycling Project taking the team title. They were always up towards the fore and made sure that they were in the frame on a regular basis. And of course, haven't seen the jersey, but Ildar Arslanov crowned the young rider champion as well. Congratulations to him. The Tour of Azerbaijan finally draws to a close. We'll be back next year. For now, though, it's time to bid a fond farewell to the great race.